Ebed-Melech, the forgotten hero who saved Jeremiah. In a dusty corner of ancient Jerusalem, where the echoes of history intertwine with whispers of the gods, lived a man whose existence was woven into the shadows of great tales. His name was Ebed-Melech, a dark-skinned Ethiopian with a brave heart, whose role in the destiny of Jeremiah, the prophet, would be relegated to oblivion for generations. But his story, though silenced, shines with a mystical glow, like a beacon in the darkness, from the golden horizon of morning to the reddish sunset. The city of Zion buzzed with rumors of judgment and redemption. Jeremiah, Yahweh's messenger, had been condemned by the authorities. His words, like sharp daggers, pierced the hardened hearts of the powerful. The truth he proclaimed was uncomfortable, an echo of what could be but was not. And so he was imprisoned and thrown into a dry cistern, a dark abyss where hope seemed to vanish. But Ebed-Melech was not a man content to remain silent. From his post as a palace servant, he watched with concern Jeremiah's fate. He often walked the corridors, feeling like a spectator in a cruel game. His deep, rich-toned skin made him stand out among the Hebrew nobles, who were unable to see beyond appearances. Yet his spirit burned with the flame of compassion and justice. One night, as the stars flickered in the sky like forgotten promises, a deep whisper arose in his heart, a call to action. Ebed-Melech knew that Jeremiah's life hung by a thread, and that only he could change the course of his fate. Regardless of the risk, he decided to act. At dawn, driven by bold impulse, he appeared before King Zedekiah. He felt the weight of the powerful's indifference reach him, but he did not stop. In his voice echoed the words of justice, the cry of every silent plea he had heard in the darkness. "O king, we cannot allow a just man to die in the desert of despair. Jeremiah is a prophet, and his voice cries out for you, for our land. We must save him." The king, caught between the fears of his court and the counsel of Ebed-Melech, hesitated. The Ethiopian's words were like a tide, at first only a murmur, but soon overwhelming. What can be done for a man the city has condemned? What life remains in him? What remains is hope, Ebed-Melech replied, his voice resounding with the strength of faith. If we use our hands to rescue him, we will be remembered in eternity. But if we abandon him, we will be the truly condemned, stained by betrayal and ignorance. Finally, the king yielded to Ebed-Melech's determination. With a small group of soldiers, this warrior of light headed toward the cistern, carrying ropes and buckets. As the sun rose, bathing the scene in golden light, a miracle occurred. The determination of one man managed to change the course of history. Ebed-Melech leaned over the edge of the cistern, where Jeremiah, weakened and covered in mud, looked up with a mixture of confusion and astonishment. "Prophet," Ebed-Melech shouted, his voice echoing into the void, "I've come to rescue you." The hands that had once been deemed insignificant began to pull the rope. Hope rose along with Jeremiah, who, feeling the connection with his Savior, understood that true compassion can emerge from the most unexpected places. It was a reminder that humanity transcends divisions. Finally, after much effort, Jeremiah emerged from the darkness. His face, marked by suffering, illuminated the surroundings with an indescribable spark, a reflection of the gratitude welling in his heart. Yet, his eyes also rested on Ebed-Melech with a mixture of surprise and reverence. "Why do you save me?" the prophet asked, still absorbing the reality of his liberation. "Because every life has a purpose. Every voice must be heard," the Ethiopian replied, his gaze fierce and tender at the same time. "Not everyone can understand your message, but I see in you the light that guides our people through the storm." From that day on, Ebed-Melech's life changed. He was no longer just a servant in the palace. He had found his voice, his purpose. Now he walked alongside Jeremiah, a true friend and companion, helping to carry the message of hope to the people who were mired in despair. However, time is a thief that often erases the footprints of those who truly make a difference. Ebed-Melech's story became overshadowed by the grand tales of kings and prophets. His sacrifice, his bravery, his act of compassion faded like a whisper in the wind. The years passed, and ancient Jerusalem fell into a deafening silence. The glory of the past remained remembered, but the unsung heroes, those who fought in the shadows, were forgotten. Yet, in every corner of the city, one could still feel the breeze of his courage, like a persistent echo that compassion can move mountains. Today, in the vast tapestry of history, Ebed-Melech's name still waits to be spoken. His legacy lives on in every act of kindness, in every brave decision made by a determined heart. It is a reminder that you don't always need armor or a title to be a hero. Sometimes, all you need is a heart willing to listen and act. The story of Ebed-Melech, the forgotten hero who saved Jeremiah, is an invitation to remember that even in the darkest moments, there is always light, always hope. Open your eyes and listen to the voices of those fighting for justice. Because maybe, just maybe, each of us could be an Ebed-Melech at some point in our lives. The figures of the past aren't always those who occupy the highest places in history. They are those who find the courage to rise and change the course of destiny. May this story inspire us to be guardians of hope, to never forget that in saving another, we save ourselves.